So it's May 25th, 2020, Memorial Day, and we're honoring Ron Chapman. This is about you being able to tell your story.
I have to tell you, in the way to go, I can't skip around. I have to. I'll start when I went to boot camp.
Okay, that's fine.
I have to do it that way, or I don't know where I am.
Well, there you go. Yes, and you have an incredible memory. How old were you?
I was 17, a little young, but
let us know if you had to have your parents sign
oh
for
yeah,
you.
my dad had a sign for it.
Where you were working, if you were, did you just get out of
no,
school?
I was in high school.
You were still in high school.
Yeah.
Where'd you go to high school?
San Juan.
Okay.
And I was, I would have graduated that year, but I couldn't wait. I wanted to get in the service.
Okay. Was that 43 or 44?
43. And so I did what I found out I could do. I went to Grant Union, and took the test and got my GED, which I couldn't do that at San Juan. They didn't know how to do it. They're too dumb. So anyway, it worked out pretty good. And then my dad took me down to the place, and they took me, and I got on the bus, or not the bus, the train, and went to Farragut, Idaho. When I got to Farragut, it was cold, and it was terrible, and I didn't know what was happening to me.
So what branch of the service were you in?
I was in the Navy.
And you chose the Navy?
Yeah, I chose the Navy because they were taking you young. And and I went to boot camp at Farragut, Idaho, which they got a picture of me in. Did you see the picture? Yeah, they got a picture of me at Farragut. And so after I got out of there, of course I had the mumps. The last month, I didn't get to graduate with the class, so it was just a little bit late. And so when I did get out, they sent me to Treasure Island. And at Treasure Island, I thought, what can I do? I wanted to get to be a third-class petty officer. So they said, well, what can you do? We need guys to take the boats and take the Marines into the beaches and things. And I said, oh, that sounds like fun. I'll take it. So
Ron, didn't you, when you were at Farragut, Idaho, didn't you learn submarine stuff? And isn't there a huge lake there where they do submarine training?
Lake Penderell. Yeah, okay. but they didn't teach anything about the submarines. It's just that they give you a choice. If you wanted to be in the submarine service, you had to go to Connecticut, I think. But I wanted to, but then I got the mumps, and everybody backed away from me. They said, you're going over to the hospital. So I said, okay, whatever. I was only 17. That wasn't quite 17 yet, I don't think. And so I got out of that, and then they sent me to Treasure Island. And then they asked me there what I wanted to do. And I said, well, what can I do? And they said, well, do you like boats? And I said, oh, yeah. They said, okay, we need coxswains. And that's to take the Marines and the guys into the beach. I said, I'll take it. I'll take it. Well, the guy that taught me, as my instructor, was my classmate in high school. Martin. What was his first name? Martin, anyway. Him and his daughter lived across the street from us, right across the street on Edison Avenue. And so anyway, he got me and trained me for being a boat coxswain, and I liked it. And then the first thing they did, they said, we need people in the armed guard. And I said, what's that? And they said, that's the gunnery crews on a merchant ship taking supplies into the beach. And I said, well, is that in the Navy? And they said, yes, you're still in the Navy. So I said, I'll take that. And I did, but it was too scary, a little scary, and I went along with it for a while. Then pretty soon I took the LCM, which was a great big 50-ton boat, and you carried a tank or large guns in.
Wow.
So I had that for a while. And
that carries tank and troops, and it hits shore in the front of it plops down?
And so did the LCVP.
Okay, they have the gates that
yeah,
plop down in
but
the front?
you were unprotected from here up on that LCVP, and I didn't like that.
Were you the only one driving it?
Absolutely. Well, you had to be a petty officer to do it.
Wow.
And I had a guy on the bow and an engine person on the ship. But the LCM was good. That's like a what the hell they call it?
Mercantile?
No, it was a mechanized ship. But the good part about it is this half-inch or quarter-inch steel plate was all around you, had little holes to look out, and I was protected. I liked that. You had two 250 horsepower engines, two of them, and you had a control here for this engine and a control for this engine. And the way you got up to the ship sideways, put the ship rudder midship, push this forward, pull this in back, and it walked you to the ship. And I kind of liked that for a while, and then pretty soon, though, I didn't want to take chances anymore. I was getting kind of smart, so I asked the captain, I said, how can I get to be something else? And they said, what do you want to be? And I said, I'd like to be a gunner's mate. He said, just, I'll get the test for you. You can take them. So I passed them, and then I become a gunner's mate. And then they put me on what was the name of the big ship with 500,000 guys, or 50,000 Marines? No, 5,000 Marines.
That went to which beach?
Well, we're going to the different beaches.
In a carrier?
No, it's an APA, attack personnel attack.
Oh, okay.
But
that wasn't the Yancey.
no, the Yancey was the first one, and that was an AKA, attack cargo attack. And then I wasn't on that too long. But then the next ship was the big, what was it, Glen? Yeah, the Glen. 239 was the Glen, and I had the armory on that ship, and the Marines on it kept coming up and see me in the morning for coffee, and I had the cook, the captain, get the cook to put me a coffee machine in there so the Marines could have coffee with me. And so it was nice. I got to know a lot of them, and I liked them, and they were pretty nice guys. I was telling Marilyn today about one of them was a magician, and he's teaching me all these magic tricks, and he was good. So that was pretty good. And then I stayed on the ship. Oh, I did have to go off a couple of times and take a few in, but I can't remember the dates, and they weren't invasions. They were already fighting. They needed more men and equipment, but I was at Guadalcanal after the battles. I was at Guadalcanal, Bougainville, Tulagi, Anahuita, and then all the Marshall Islands. I was at all of them, and then I went to Guam, Saipan, Tinian, and I'm really thinking of, I don't know if I'm thinking of them, but anyway, it was 3 of them there, and that's when I saw the Enola Gay take off to go bomb bomb them, and then from there we stayed on that, and pretty soon we went to after those 3. I think we went to Midway. After we left that, what is the one there at the bottom of the Philippines, where we blocked the we blocked the Japanese that couldn't get their ships through there to get gas?
Suez, not the Suez.
Was it?
Bottom of the Philippines?
No, it was.
Into that.
Oh, Leyte Gulf.
Leyte Gulf.
Leyte Gulf, and we blockaded it. We had I don't know how many ships was out there, and we blockaded it, and then but I went to other islands too. We got them all written down somewhere. I could forget where they were. There were about 20 of them, and also I've been to Manila. I've been to Japan, Manila, and then I got called back in the Korean War, and I went to Saipan. What was the 2 places there? Busan and Incheon. and that's where my brother was killed, and I didn't know it. And they called on the ship and give the captain told him to tell me that my brother was killed, and that was just about the end of it for me, I
Were
guess.
you in Incheon before or after the invasion?
I don't think we invaded them yet because there wasn't that big a thing. The Japanese didn't have the manpower.
No, Incheon in Korea.
Yeah, I was there.
Right, but so was that? Did you get there after the invasion, or were you there during the?
No, I think that we let troops go from the ship, and I think they went in from there. But I can't remember the details. Pretty hard to do, but it was an exciting career. It wasn't a dead man's career, but I got to honor my family that way. And now I got my granddaughter. She's a petty officer first in the Navy, and she's repairs electronics on the helicopters, on the carriers. So she's following through and staying with it.
Did you serve at any time in the same unit with any of your siblings, your brothers?
No, and I didn't even know they were there at the same time I was. They were out there. My brother Dick was there at the same time. We talked about it later. He was on the McCafferty, I believe it was, the destroyer.
Did you write letters home to your parents?
Yeah, and we never told where we were or anything. All we did was tell them we were okay, our health is good, and I guess that's about all you do. I don't know. I can't think of.
Did they write back to you? Your
Oh
family?
yeah, I got, but the mail come to you, some of it, and then a lot of it didn't.
Yeah, I bet that was hard.
Yeah.
And how many brothers during World War II?
5. My brother. Me, my brother Dick, my brother Bruce, and then my brother Raymond, and my brother Harold. And there were 6. My brother Bill was a Marine.
Wow.
Were all the rest of you in the Navy?
No, Army and Navy.
Army, Navy,
Yeah,
and Marines?
The brother that was killed was in the 101st Airborne, the Screaming Eagles. And the other, my brother Dave was just a foot soldier, but he was in Korea, and it's hard to keep track of it and remember which ones were where. You know, you think about it and you do forget. And but I got out of it and lived through it.
Tell us that story about you and the other guy getting off on the Japanese island to go get the souvenirs.
Oh, yeah. This when being then at that time I think I was a petty officer second, but I could get off the ship and I could take somebody with me. So the barber, who was 36 years old, said, "Boy, Ron, I would sure like to go, and I'll cut your hair free for all the rest of the time." I said, "Okay." So I think his name was Carlson. So we went over there on Guadalcanal. I think it was Guadalcanal. And we're looking for some souvenirs because the guns were, stuff was laying all over. And we were into the island a little bit, and pretty soon the shots were coming down from the trees. The Japanese women were snipers, and they were up there in the trees. And so we took off on a run. Carlson had false teeth in the Navy. He lost his teeth when we were running, and he wasn't going to go back after him. God, that was funny.
God.
And I always felt bad about it, but he didn't care.
So he went through the rest of the time with no teeth?
No, he got, I think they took him off the ship and took him for dental, and he got false teeth, I guess, but I don't think we even had him anymore on the ship. I don't remember whether he ever
So you
come
missed
back.
out on all your free haircuts.
Yeah, yeah, that was something. But the guys in the Navy were pretty. You really took care of everybody. Everybody took care of everybody. And boy, that was really nice. Well, the Army the same way, and the Marines, all of them took care of each other. They'd give their life for their shipmate, you know.
So when you were in Japan, what city in Japan, and did you visit or get
Oh
to
yeah,
know
yeah.
people?
I was in Okinawa. Well, I was in Okinawa and Iwo Jima first before I ever went to Japan. But I went to Japan during the Korean War, and I was at Yokohama, Sasebo, and another. What can you remember what the other one was?
You have to read it.
Yokohama and Sasebo. Remember that well. I can't remember.
But you went to some homes.
We went to a home. The people that invited us on the street, they invite us to come over in their home for some tea. So we go. You take your shoes off. You can't go in with your shoes on. And you sit on the floor because all they got is a gazebo, not a gazebo,
Hibachi.
That's all they got, and they were so nice. It was pretty nice to do that, because I was not one for going to bars and drinking or anything, and neither were my two shipmates. They were pretty good. So we had a good time. The people were nice. We were hoping they'd have some sexy daughters, but they didn't.
You said you were too bashful to take part in
I
that
was.
anyway.
I had a couple of girls in San Francisco that were putting a chase on me all the time, and I would always say, I got to get back to the ship. And I don't know, I just couldn't handle it. And just the same way in high school. I used to hide from the girl that was chasing me all the time. Yeah, she'd chase every time we have a break, and you're in to your lockers down whatever they called that break. And I would be real careful that I didn't see where she was. Her name was McDonald. She's a nice-looking girl. I mean, there was nothing wrong with her. It was just me.
So, your birthday's in November, right?
The 16th of November.
Right.
Yeah.
And you actually went in the Navy what month, what year?
It was 43, but I can't remember. I can't remember when I got the permission from my dad to go.
Because you might have been 16.
Well, it could have been. I don't think I better be telling anybody that, because
you could get in trouble now.
might have been getting in real trouble. Just like the things bringing these guns and things back. That was against the, you're not supposed to do that. But it worked out pretty good. I got away with a lot of things because once I become a second and a first class petty officer, I had my own quarters, and I could hide a couple of guns there, and I could swords. And then it was my job. I didn't know it was going to be my job when we got to San Francisco, for me to check and make sure that
Other people didn't have them?
that's right. So I was pretty. I let everybody go.
Was this your first job ever, or did you have a job in high school?
No, I think that. No, I guess it was my first job.
Wow, that is really
Oh yeah, because I was only a junior in high school.
I thought you worked for Weinstock.
Yes, but after I got out.
Oh,
When you
I
got
thought that
back,
was
yeah.
before.
And that's why they wanted me to come in there, and they took this picture of me here.
Yeah.
Because I worked for them. And they kept it in the window there on K Street for a long time.
How long were you actually in the service?
Well, I got out in the war ended in May of
45.
45. And so I think we went from overseas to Shoemaker, California. And you got discharged in Shoemaker. But I can't remember the dates.
I don't even know where that is.
But,
I can't even tell you where it is.
Pacific ended in August, right? So did you leave before the war in Pacific ended?
No, the war ended, I think. Let's see.
It was May.
Well, Roosevelt died
May
on
45
April
in
16th.
Right, but
Well, no, the war was over with,
Right.
because they wouldn't let us out until the war was over with, and
Well, if you saw the Nola Gay
I saw it take off.
Right. Well, that had to be August, right?
August, right.
Yeah, August 1945.
Yeah, it was 45. Yeah.
And it was going there.
It
to
was
be
going
with
over to drop the atomic bomb. And it was the Enola Gay, and then the guy was the colonel. That was we all saw it. We
Tibbets.
didn't know what he was going, where he was going, or anything.
Tibbets.
Tibbets, yeah. But we found out later what it was, and we thought, my God, we saw them take off.
Now, what about the Korean War?
Well, the Korean War was kind of a different thing. I didn't like it going back, and they called me. I just got married, I think, and I think Kathy was just born, and so a friend of mine in San Francisco got called back in, and he just had a family, and we decided we're going to write our congressman because we're not going to put up with this. Well,
Didn't make a difference.
it
huh?
didn't make a difference. We still went. We both were on ships, and.
Didn't you say something about if you joined the reserve that you wouldn't have to go back in?
Well, that's what they told me. But I joined the reserves when I got out. The day they're getting my discharge, they said, boy, you should stay in the reserve. You can get some pay. Let me down. They could have talked me into anything. Well, that was wrong. I was in
Then
the
you
reserve.
probably got called up early then, huh?
Oh, yeah, got called right away.
Yeah.
And you didn't have any excuse, boy.
Yeah.
They come and got you in a Navy car.
Yeah.
And because they couldn't wait for whatever. But then that's when I got on the Yancey, I think, but I don't remember. And then I wasn't on it very long, and then I wanted to change my rate from coxswain, which is a bosun's mate third, but they had coxswain, and you had to be that to run the boats. Then I told the captain I can't handle it anymore. I said, it's just a little bit dangerous. He said, okay. I wanted to be a gunner's mate. He said, okay, we need gunner's mates. So he got the test for me. I took him on the ship. I passed him. And then I was a gunner's mate.
Tell me about the time that you did duty on Treasure Island.
Oh,
Was that
yeah.
between the First War and Korea, or
Mhm.
was that after Korea?
That was afterwards. They were looking
German POW.
they were looking for jobs for me. Oh no, it was after, I guess, after the First World War. I mean the Second World War.
You were
I was guarding German.
guarding Germans.
I was guarding German prisoners. I had 50 of them, and they worked in the laundry. And I trusted them. They were the nicest guys I ever met. And you should have seen the lamp they made out of copper for me, and with oh, it was beautiful. And I left it at the house that my dad sold, because we had it in the driveway for the street lamp. I mean, for the lamp on the driveway. So I left it. But anyway, they.
Might still be there.
Oh, it probably is, because it was so rare. It was beautiful.
We
Yeah,
should-
they knew it. The people that bought it knew
Oh.
what it was. But anyway, but I guarded the German prisoners. I liked them. They were nice. And they made that for me, handmade, and gave it to me, which was nice. But I treated them nice. I didn't treat them like prisoners, because Schultz was my interpreter. He talked good English, and I liked him. He was pretty nice, and I would go upstairs when I was tired, because this was from 8 o'clock at night till 4 in the morning, or something like that. And I'd go upstairs, and I said, now I may fall asleep a little bit. And I got a Thompson submachine gun with me. I'm up there sleeping, and he'd wake me up if the officer or the deck come in.
Just like on Hogan's Heroes.
Yeah.
It's just like it is today. I mean, nothing's changed, you know.
And what was it that the Germans said to you, that if he did the same thing in his country,
Oh, they
would
kill
have
him, they
shot
shoot him. Yeah, they'd shoot him.
What was that?
I don't remember what I remember him saying about, you don't get away with the things you do here, you know. But they taught me how to ask for a cup of coffee, which I still know today. It's bitte gib mir eine Tasse coffee. That's for a free cup of coffee. Never have forgot it. Well, Schultz used to sit me down and says, "Now say it again." But it was nice. I mean, to live through it and meet a lot of people, and it was nice. But the Korean War was a little different. I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't want to go, but I had to. But I lived through that one too,
And how long were you involved in that one?
I can't even remember. I can't remember. It seems like I was in it for maybe 18 months. I think, if I remember correctly, they only called you back for 18 months. But I don't know now. I could be wrong on that. It's so hard to remember dates and all those places, but I remember on Anahuita, I would take the LCM and take the guys on Liberty. Nobody was on that island, but they had beer over there for you and stuff, and so I would take the Liberty. They'd let the guys off the ship, get away from the ship, and we'd go over to Anahuita, and it was safe. It was settled, and it was safe, and it worked out pretty good. But she's got a list of the islands. There must have been about 22 or 23 of them that I was in. I can't remember the dates and things, but it was a long thing, but pretty safe. I didn't get. We got hit a couple times, and nothing serious, but I hid a lot, and as long as I could hide, I figured I could live.
So from the time you went in until you were released, what was that, about 2 years or a little bit?
Oh, it was a little more than 2 years. It was, well, I went in and I think it was the end of October of '43, and I went in, I got out, when did the war end?
In
45.
45, so you were 16.
Well,
Aha.
you're not supposed to know it.
You were just a couple weeks shy.
Yeah,
27.
yeah, my dad said, "Are you sure this is what you want, huh?" I said, "Tell me something, Dad. When did you want to go into and go to France?" See, he didn't have a college education. He was a good pilot. He was a barnstormer, but they wouldn't take him in America. So he got in and got into France at the Escadrille, the Lafayette Escadrille. And boy, they wanted pilots bad. They didn't have them. So he was really welcome.
So he flew for France
Yeah.
in World War I?
I guess that's what it was, yeah.
Wow.
Because I don't think it was
Is that
flying.
your father there?
Huh?
Is
Yeah,
that your
that's
father?
your dad.
Yeah.
What was your dad's name?
Show us that picture.
His name was same as mine, Rollin.
Roland?
Ron, can you show the picture?
And do you know how long he flew for France?
No, I don't know anything about it. He never even talked about it when he come home. When I got into the service, I don't know, I guess
So how old would you have 18 siblings, you're a total of
Yeah.
18 kids?
yeah. I was
How
the second
old-
oldest.
You were the second oldest?
Yeah, Betty, sister Betty was the oldest.
And then you.
Then me, then the other ones that went in the service.
So was your dad like in his 40s when you went in?
You know, I don't know.
Late
Pro-
30s, early 40s?
Probably. But he learned everything on his own. Like he was building houses when I was going to grammar school and high school. He built about 6 houses around us there, and he did it all. He never hired anybody. I don't know how he did it. I don't know how they did it. But then of course it comes down to my granddaughter here, who is in the Navy. And Marissa, first class petty officer already, and she'll be a chief pretty soon.
She's been in like 6 or 8 years, hasn't she?
She's been in about,
longer than
no, she's
that.
been in about 11 years.
11 years, okay.
How old is she now?
Who knows?
She went in immediately after high school.
Okay.
She
And
went in to
that's-
honor me.
That's been quite a while.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
longer
she
than
told me,
11
she
years.
says, "Grandpa, I want to honor you, and I'm going in the Navy." And I'm pretty proud of her. And what she's done, boy.
Yes, she's an excellent mechanic, repairman. for helicopters.
Well, she's in all
When
the,
one goes bad somewhere and needs immediate attention, they send for her.
yeah, they fly her to different states
Oh, wow.
because she really knows how to repair that stuff. And she's been on carriers. She's been all over the world. She's been in Asia, all through there.
Wow.
She,
Oh, I didn't
oh
know
yeah.
that.
She's done a lot, but that's why she's also a petty officer first. She did a good job every place she went, and the captains of those ships said that girl is she'll be a chief pretty soon. I hope anyway.
That's cool.
Well, can you think of anything else about World War II that really stood out for you?
Well, just I saw a lot of the Japanese women that were snipers that were in the stockade on I think it was on Saipan. I'm not sure. And you could see them, you could walk past them, and they didn't like us too well.
Where were you during the Bataan Death March?
When was that?
Well, you must have known about it. Must
Oh
have
yeah,
read
but
about
I
it.
don't know. I was in Manila. I was in all of the Philippines, but I don't remember the dates. The Philippines, you just seem to go like this down to the places, you know. Yeah, I remember the Death March, but I don't remember. I wasn't old enough.
42.
Was it 43?
Probably early 42.
Yeah.
42, yeah.
42, yeah, it probably was. Well, I mean, we knew of it and talked about it and everything, but that was just like the Korean War. When they called me and my friend back in from San Francisco, we were going to sue the government. They're not going to get away with it, but it didn't work.
Yeah. What was the nearest or the accident, incident, or near-death thing that you had occur?
Probably 20 times.
But do you have one in particular that you really recall that
No,
was,
you're scared to death,
pretty
and
harrowing?
you don't know, and you want to get out of there, and you get them out of the boat. The LCM has the ramp the same as the other one, but it just was for carrying men. It was the LCVP, Landing Craft Vehicle Personnel. Anyway, you would take just Marines in with their guns, nothing else. But the LCM was the Landing Craft Mechanized. You took in equipment, you can take everything, but because it was a 50-ton boat, you know, it was.
Well, you had one definite incident, and that was where you received the Silver Star.
Yeah, but it wasn't during it was a gun in the gun. We were doing gun practice on a 5-inch 38, which I was a gun captain on it. And the loader, they had big gloves that were, for the heat. This 28-pound shell, it was just fired. So all he got is, when they come out, he's supposed to get the shell and get it out of the way of everything else, because it was up to about probably 5,000 degrees. It was terrible. And it caught fire on one of the good shells, and it scared the hell out of me because I was the gun captain. And I tried to pull him out, get him out of there. And the gunnery officer, who's a Navy gunnery officer, said, "You deserve the Congressional Medal of Honor." And I said, "No, no, no." He says, "You're going to get the Silver Star whether you like it or not."
So did you save a guy's life? Or
Oh, yeah, probably
Crew.
did. I
Was
got
it
the
a
fire
crew?
out. Yeah, well, somebody had to do it, and I was there. I was the gun captain. I
So
wasn't.
you jumped down and got it out?
No, I was in there with him.
Oh, okay.
I was in the gun cabin with him. Well, they were 5 feet away.
How many guys in a crew in one of those?
I had a pointer, a trainer, 2 loaders, one loader, 2 hot shellmen, and me, the gun captain. I guess that's all. Yeah, that was all.
Wow.
Sounds like you got a lot of training in a short period of time.
Oh, I did. Oh, I did.
And so an 8-hour day or 10-hour day, they were training you guys like crazy.
Oh, yeah. We did have a lot of training. We had to learn about how to set the fuses on the timers, because all the ammunition on the 5-inch 38 had a fuse in the front you could set for the time, so it would hit a plane up there, and you had to learn how to set those. You had I don't think our 3-inch 50 had fuses on that. They might have had them. I don't know. But the 20 millimeters had no fuses. They were just, we had 40 rounds to a magazine, and you put it on there and pull the thing back, and it loads, and you just fire it away until it's empty, and then dump the empty and put another one in. We had an ammunition box right up there beside the gun, and you open it up and you could get a new magazine and put it in, new one, put it in.
So
I didn't have to do that.
did you shoot planes down?
Well, I didn't. And I really loved film later, but I was too young. I didn't,
It's okay.
I never thought of doing anything like that. I never thought of,
He wasn't trained as
Well, that was what I was wondering.
yeah.
During the war, initially, first round. he
and
wasn't-
they never talked about you doing anything that's going to help you. And you couldn't keep any notes. You couldn't write home about where you were,
Yeah.
anything. And they censored your mail before you sealed it.
Wow.
Did you ever get in trouble for a prank?
No, I never did.
Never played a prank on a
No,
fellow shipmate and got in trouble?
no, I've had a pretty good record.
Okay.
That's because I was bashful about a lot of
Falls in
things.
the category of women. He's too bashful yet.
Well, for 16 going on 17, to go and do what he did,
Yeah, that's
it
crazy.
is incredible.
Well, I didn't even realize what I was getting into. I mean,
Yeah.
I just wanted to go and join the war. My dad.
Did you have a best friend that went in at the same time?
No,
No?
I didn't care. I wanted to go, and my dad took me down to the train, and it was about 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock at night, and he says, "Okay, you got quarters. You're going to get to sleep, but when you get to Farragut, Idaho, it's going to be cold." So I said, "Oh, it is? What's cold? You know, I'm from Sacramento."
Yeah, right.
So how old was your next sibling that went? The one you said you lost a brother. So how old were your brothers after you?
You know, I wonder how old Raymond was. He probably was. Well, whenever the invasion of in Korea was 51. Yeah, 51.
So
'cause
he
I
was
got
maybe 14 or 15 or something? when
no.
he went in?
They were about 17 or
They
18.
couldn't have been.
No, they couldn't have been.
No, when he went in at age 17, they were probably 13, 14,
Yeah.
15, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, they were. But when they went in, they were just of age, and to go into Korea. And,
Were any of them twins?
no, well, we had twins, one set of twins. One of them died when they were pretty young, if I remember correctly. Yeah, one
Yeah,
of them.
because all your younger brothers coming up behind you
Yeah,
were young, which means they must have gone in 44, 45, and then the Korean War.
no, yeah, they, Bruce, Dick, and Harold went in. They were in at the end of World War II,
Mm-hmm.
but not in combat. They didn't have any combat. But Raymond and Raymond and Dave went in the Korean War, I think. And
Sounds like all of them joined when they were like 17.
yeah, well, they wanted to go.
And they all
wanted,
liked to
yeah.
get in.
Well, we didn't have anything. There was too many of us in the family.
Right.
You know, we slept on the floor in the house. We never had beds. But I guess maybe we figured in the Navy I'd have a bed. I had a bunk.
Yeah.
I recall, it seems like it was in the 60s or 70s, the Yancey went through under the Golden Gate Bridge.
No, not the Golden Gate. It went under the bridge in Boston, or whatever that bridge is there, and got hit. It hit the
Right.
yeah, it hit and damaged it. And I said,
Right.
God, that was the ship I was on in battle,
Yeah.
and we never got a scratch.
That's a story too.
So that was the ship you were on, the Yancey?
Well, at one time, yeah, for a short time, and that's a cargo ship, and we were taking cargo into the Marines wherever they needed it, and
Supplies.
supplies. Yeah,
What other ships were you on?
I was on the Brazil Victory, and that's just when I was in the Armed Guard. The Armed Guard was 21 men and an officer and 2 petty officers. I was one of the petty officers. And what we did, the gun crew protected the merchant ship. They were merchant ships. They were the SS Brazil Victory and the SS Radcliffe Victory. Those were the 2. How the hell did I remember those?
You're doing so beautifully. I just told Debbie, I said,
Yeah.
what a memory.
Well, I must be back doing something or something because it's coming back.
Yes. Remember what I told you earlier? You have to redo this in your mind many times over to keep that there. Otherwise, you forget it.
Well, every now and then in bed, I start thinking of some of those bad times. I can't help that, but you just do what you have to do.
That's true.
You're just a young kid in the Navy. You're not taking any chances. You can always hide or crawl under a deck or something.
So you've seen a bunch of military movies. Which movies that have been created is most realistic, in your opinion, to your wartime?
I really don't know because they got movie stars in them, and I guess, but they were pretty good movies. The war movies are pretty real, and I guess you could say they're pretty accurate, I guess. But I couldn't really be sure about that.
Are you talking Navy? Or
Well, and that's what I was
Indian?
just thinking. I've seen
am I-
Battle of the Bulge, different
Yeah.
kinds of things, and I'm thinking I maybe need to think more Navy versus
Yeah,
inland.
I don't know anything
Yeah.
about Europe.
Yeah.
I wished I would have went to Europe, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And but we had enough bloodshed on our stuff, the Navy and the islands.
Yeah.
Boy, those Japanese didn't give up. I mean, they were in caves, and they would cut your head off if they got a chance. And then they learned to like us. I don't know how in the hell that happened.
And then they play baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 of us were taking liberty one night in Yokohama, I think it was. And these people invited us to their house, and we went out, we took our shoes off and we went in there. And it was nice. They treated us real nice, and I forget what we had, but we had fish, I think, or something. But anyway, when we left, we had to get back to the ship. And we didn't know how we were going to do it because we weren't quite sure where in the hell we were. So what we did, we flagged down a truck, one of the supply trucks, driven by a Japanese guy, a little Japanese truck. Flagged him down. We said, we hate to do this, but we'll pay you. Can you take us to I think it was the Yancey then, yeah. Can you take us to the Yancey? Don't you know where it is? I said, no, we're kind of lost. Come on, I'll take you. So he took us to the Yancey, and we were raising hell in the seat and making noise, and the poor guy hit the side of something. It broke a headlight on his truck. And we wanted to pay him for it, and he wouldn't take any money. But he took us back to where the ship was, because everybody knew where the ships were, all but us, because we didn't know where the streets were.
Did he speak good English?
He's not too good, but he did speak what we could handle.
That's very surprising.
Yeah, well, they were all learning it, I guess, because they knew they were going to lose the war.
Yeah. And that's how the Japanese are. They will not let you take responsibility for their actions.
Yeah. No, they were pretty nice to us, and I enjoyed going and talking to Japanese people. The women were nice to us. They'd bow to you on the street. They all wore masks. They were really into that mask business.
Even before COVID-19.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a Japanese thing, the mask, I
Well,
guess.
Chinese and Japanese, yeah.
You realize this is the
Because they're
first
so-
time I sat down and talked about that war since I talked to my dad.
Yeah.
My mom didn't want to hear it, and neither did the kids. They didn't give a damn.
Well, we really appreciate you doing this.
Well, I told it all. Like, I can't think of some bad things I did. I didn't tell them.
When you got home in 45, when you thought about who you were then, you know, when you went in, who you were when you came out, how did you feel about what you became when you came back?
Well, I felt good about it. I felt pretty proud that I helped win the war, and you know, and I was in combat, and I didn't get sent down to San Francisco for the war, like a lot of we called them the Market Street Commandos.
Why did you call them Market Street Commandos?
Because they never were overseas. They were just
They were at the Presidio.
yeah, they just stationed at the different places. They
More
never.
like MPs, or what?
No,
what
they
did
weren't
do?
even MPs. They just were people that they were clerks and things that had an education for being a stenographer or something. I don't know.
Okay.
We don't know what
So
they
they
were.
had desk duty.
Yeah,
Market Street
well, yeah,
Commandos.
that's why we called them the Market Street Commandos.
That's pretty good. I have to look that up. That's pretty good.
No, I'm sure that that's still around. People will remember that. But, well, there was a lot of things. I mean, I guess it's something to say that you've been there and through the war, because there's not. You know how many of us are still alive from World War II?
I don't know how many.
Not very many, they said. It's really, really getting down. They just don't see them anymore.
They said last year there were about 400,000.
Yeah, out of 4 million. Yeah.
So this is why this is so special that you're
Well, I guess it is special to know something about it. And I want her to have something to know about it. So that's good that we did this.
And if it's up to Mark, he will make sure that each family has a tape of this, a video of this.
Well, no, he doesn't have to make
Yes,
this for them.
we will pay him or whatever it takes for each family to have this. You should have it, and they should have it.
Well, 3 daughters of mine, I would like to see 3 copies of it for my 3 daughters, because they would like to have it.
Well,
Well,
one
and
in
I
the
bet
family
Ryan
is
would as
enough.
well, and Marissa, and
Well, they're different, but Marissa's, her
Yeah,
mother
yeah.
is Brenda.
right.
Well, one copy probably is all you
One
need.
copy's all you need.
Yeah, Brenda's really protected. She's got all my film from when I was with the antique cars. About a 16 millimeter. I had a Bolex 16 millimeter
nice.
camera, and it was expensive, but I ought to have the best. And I took pictures of every one of my tours and Harrah's Club, Bill Harrah, everything. And they got them all, but I got to have them put on disc.
Right.
And I got about 10,000 feet of film,
Wow.
at least. Plus I got a 16 millimeter projector I'll never use. And you can't, I don't think you can even buy one of those. And it's still good, everything's fine with it. They've got it stored for 20 years for me.
Nice.
But I will never take pictures again, probably. That's why I want to sell my camera. I'll never take pictures again like I used to.
Yep. Well, thank you, Ron. That's cool.
Yes,
Well,
thank you.
I can't believe I did this. I wouldn't do it for them. They wanted it first. Then I said no. I'm not going to go through that again. And
Well,
all right, now they'll see it. Yeah.
that heart surgery kind of changed things for you, I think.
Well, that's probably so. And being almost 94 probably does
yeah,
it
that
too.
too.
So what's, just for heck of it, what's the cost for like one film? Like the one I will give for my family?
So I think it's free.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
No, no,
a
no,
package
I'll-
of DVDs is maybe $10.
No,
Yeah.
no, but
so
I
it's,
wanted to pay for the thing.
Never free.
It's
Well,
free.
that's nice. That's a
Oh,
nice.
you're right, but it's without charge.
Yes, there you go. Good point. Yeah, nothing's free in this world, but without charge, yes.
The girls didn't introduce themselves on the film.
Who are these girls?
Valerie Harris, aka Pageant,
No,
Mom's youngest daughter.
she's a retired chief of police. Take a little credit for it.
Yeah, well, but and your stepdaughter, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Right? You're my
Yeah.
stepdad.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And
And
I'm
then-
Debbie Pageant Roush.
She's a
Right.
masked person. She likes to have a mask on all the time. She's hiding from somebody.
Wife of the director behind the
yes,
camera.
very good. Yes, good point.
And first child of Marilyn.
And this is my young girl here that I married, and she's pretty young. I think she's only 40.
Well, because he started out so, I shouldn't use the word, uneducated in life of romance, he was saving himself for me.
There you go.
I did. That's what I saved myself
That's a
for.
good point. Good point. No, this is pretty cool. Pretty special, Ron.
Well, really, I guess it is. If you know, it's,
And does the director get to pop in and do a quick little intro? No, you don't do
You
that.
know, you could step around, do one of those real
This
close
director doesn't do that.
well, I don't know of anything else that I missed.
Ron, you probably could talk for hours.
Yeah,
about stuff,
because I was
but-
in Manila, and I was in two other places but I can't think of the cities in the Philippines. So what would be besides Manila? It wasn't Bataan, but it was going down from Manila.
There's a famous one that starts with an S.
Yes.
Yes.
I can't remember. Singapore.
No,
No.
it's in Philippines.
Singapore's in the Philippines,
No,
isn't it?
China.
Oh, that's right. well, they're all the same to me. They all look the same.
Well, anyway, you helped save the world. Otherwise, we may not even be here right now or speaking German.
Is there a Sagasag?
Suko, something. There's a university there.
Names of the Philippines.
Cebu, Agulu,
Prince of Asturias,
Cebu.
the Philippines.
Cebu. Cebu, yeah, that sounds familiar.
Cebu,
I've had students.
Kalukan,
I've had
Samar.
students from there.
Leyte
It's only
Leyte
about-
Gulf, yeah,
in
Leyte,
Samar.
Samar.
Prince of Asturias, Bernard de la Torre.
There's only
Let's see.
4 letters in that name.
Only 4 in the
Yeah, it's like SABU or S something.
That's Cebu, I think, CEB.
It's hard to remember that. But I know there was about 3 places
Cebu.
we took
Cebu?
supplies on the Philippines. We took Manila.
That's a big city.
Okay, Quezon is the largest city.
I can't think of the others.
Bicol, B-I-K-O-L. No, those are languages.
Did you ever stay in touch with any of your buddies?
No, we really didn't, because it was something most of us didn't want to remember, and it just kind of died.
Yeah.
You know, we wanted to get out, and
Yeah. Get back to a real world.
and I was not going to re-enlist, but I stayed in the reserve because they told me I would get paid, and it was a good deal. Well, it was a good deal. They called you right back into the first next goddamn
You
war.
never ran into any other Navy mates that were your age. They were all older than you.
They were all older, yeah.
That's why you didn't stay in touch.
Yeah, well, I guess that's it. But then when I was a petty officer, though, I was in charge of all the guys on the ships, on the 2 merchant ships, 21 seamen, gunners, a signalman, and a Navy officer, and myself. And that's what we were. We were the crew. And wasn't that much to it. It just, but then it got better and better, and pretty soon I had 2 first-class gunner's mates with me, and we had our own quarters on the Yancey. We had our own quarters, and our own shower and everything. It was pretty nice. We thought we were really important.
Well, I don't have a drink in my hand, but we'll toast here.
You know, you guys already did.
We're toasting to
Okay.
Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It was real nice.
And this was so special. I
And your memory really came about.
Well,
and-
it's because it's the first time I sat down to ever
well,
talk about
that's
it.
good.
I probably got things wrong, but I don't know.
No, this was a good interview because you came forward with all sorts of information that I've never heard you talk about.
No, the first time we ever had anything ever happened was on the, I guess it was the Yancey. Is that we were at the middle of the night. It was about 11 o'clock at night. All of a sudden, the whole ship jumped out clear out of the water. We thought we were torpedoed. All it was is goddamn thunder clouds. We didn't know.
oh, luckily.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, yeah, it could have been
Wow.
something else.
Well, doesn't that affect you when a great big, huge
Oh,
wave
affect
hits?
you. I hope to tell you, especially when the waves are breaking 60 feet in the
Right.
air and coming clear up to the top over the ship. That's,
Oh my God.
oh, you should see those storms in the Philippines and through there. Geez, they're terrible. Boy, they really have trouble with the.
Anybody ever get washed over?
Oh yeah. You know,
You lost people that way?
Yeah, a lot of them because
Oh, my God.
because you got hit. We weren't used to it. Then they put up things and you're supposed to hold on to the chains and the ropes on the side when you walk on, because otherwise you're going to get washed over the side.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
God, that is.
Well, it was, but what could they do about it? Nothing.
Okay, Ron, well,
But I'm still
thank
here.
you
Okay.
yeah, for your service and for sharing.
And
Well-
we'll thank your dad too
Yeah.
for World
Oh
War
yeah.
I.
Well, that's nice of you girls. And Mark, it really is.